The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory in relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. We're continuing our series on DiSC personality styles. If you haven't seen the introduction, I would encourage you to watch that. It gives a good overview of what DiSC personality styles are all about, how to determine what your style is, even if you don't take the official instrument, a fairly simple way to discern your personality style and others in your family, in your work team, why that's important, how they relate to each other, and what to do with that. Just some basics. I'm not going to go back into the overview here, so that's foundational. Today, we're going to look at the first, not necessarily the most important, it's just spelled in an acronym for DiSC, the D style, which is dominant. And what is most basic to the D style is their higher energy for tasks. You can discern whether you or somebody else is a D style by how quickly they talk, their mannerisms, the fact that they are future focused on getting things done. It's not a good or a bad thing, it's just a thing. That's the case with all of the DiSC personality styles. It is what it is. It's how we use it that can be helpful or not helpful in our groups. What motivates a D style personality are things like challenges, tangible results, authority to set a direction, and the power to get it done. Now, I'm going to go into how that's perceived among teams later, but again, that's not a good or a bad thing. Ds are natural leaders. They want to take charge. They're energetic. They're focused on the task at hand, the task in the future, the big picture, and that is what motivates them, and to work with people like that as long as they're on the same sheet of music. Some positives for Ds in teams. Again, they are future focused. They like to use timelines, and they are willing to tackle obstacles and or the status quo. They're not afraid of a challenge. In fact, if they have a good sense of where they want to go and there's something standing in the way, whether that is a specific obstacle or just tradition in and of itself, they are willing to tackle that, to move through it, to get to the obstacle, or to get to the goal. And it makes sense that some of their challenges are they're going to be often overconfident. They may overcommit. They may be too independent, and they may neglect routine. Routine to a D can seem boring. If there are reports that have to be done every day or week, or they've got to attend staff meetings, all those are, in their mind, standing in the way of making progress. This is nitnoid stuff. Somebody else could be sitting here taking notes. I need to make sure that the big tasks, the big picture, the future goals are being accomplished, that we're moving in the right direction. So they're easily annoyed by routine. And because they like to get things done, they tend to overcommit and be overconfident. That can work for them and against them, as you can imagine. If you want to get things done, you tend to accept lots and lots of tasks to get done. And because we are confident in ourselves, we've made progress in the past, we tend to overcommit in the things that we do and be overconfident in those things. So that can get us into trouble if we're a D, or if you're working or living with a D. Their disposition and analysis, they tend to be assertive, but their focus on the big picture can neglect the past and current details. That makes sense too. If they're focused on the big picture and the future, they're going to miss details and learning from the past. They want to make progress. It seems like a waste of time to look backward as to how things have been done in the past, even if they weren't done well. And you know the old adage, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So there are positive and negatives, as with all the personality styles, for D's in analysis. Some of their growth areas in teams: they need to be better listeners, providing rationales to their people. Why are we doing this? And investing time in people to build trust and respect. All of those things, because a D tends to work quickly and because they're task-oriented, they can overlook the relationship. They can overlook others' input and opinions. They can overlook the waves that they're making and how those decisions are impacting others in second, third order effects. Now, what about different combinations of D styles, a DI, a DS, a DC? In the combination of styles, normally the most prominent is written first, the D, and the other is written in a smaller case. And generally speaking, not always, the first letter is our goal. It's what we want to accomplish, and the second letter is the means to that goal. Now, that's not always the case, but it's generally the case. And as I mentioned in the introduction, it's important to understand that somebody may be a personality style at work that is different than at home. It may come from a different motivation. There's a lot of different factors as to why people do what they do. So the applications I'm about to make or the descriptions I'm about to make are general, and unless this is truly somebody's preference overall at home, at work, at leisure, it may not apply in every instance. But if it is truly their blanket disposition, this is going to be generally true. A DI likes to accomplish goals by inspiring people. And that might sound like your mom, your dad, your supervisor, a mentor that you know. That's their preference. Doesn't mean that they can't do other things. Doesn't mean that they have to do it that way, but that's their bent. If somebody is a DS, they like to accomplish goals by providing a stable environment for people. They're mostly focused on the goal, but they realize that if people are in conflict, the goal is not going to happen. So a DS wants to make it a positive environment for the people, a safe environment for the people, toward their real objective, which is the goal or the task. And finally, a DC likes to accomplish goals by noting or observing and keeping conscientious behavior so that people are doing the right thing so that the right task or the task at hand can be accomplished. That can seem very impersonal because it's a future-focused task and a present-focused environment of doing the right thing. It can come across as I said, impersonal and very driven, but the person in their mind has a positive rationale for that. This is a good goal. I want to make sure everybody's doing the right thing so that we can reach that good goal. Hope that makes sense to you. That is the D personality, just kind of a thumbnail sketch. Again, if you haven't seen the introduction, refer to that because that'll tell you some ways that they relate to other personality styles and why. And tune in next week and we'll take a look at the I personality. Hope to see you then.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research Development and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.